The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Today is a beautiful Wednesday, but honestly, things in Genoa City are incredibly dark right now. We've been covering this show for a long time, and some episodes just hit you like a ton of... Grab a coffee, because we need to unpack everything that just went. So let's just dive right into the absolute nightmare that was today's episode. We've been waiting for this for weeks. Weeks! The whole build-up to Nikki Newman getting her bandages removed has been so intense, and honestly, I am exhausted just watching it. We all knew this was going to be a massive moment, but I don't think any of us were prepared for the sheer level of devastation that the writers threw at us today. I mean, let's be real, this show loves to drag things out, but when they deliver, they really deliver. And today, they delivered pure, unadulterated trauma. Nikki has been holding on to this tiny sliver of hope that when those bandages came off, her world would go back to normal. She's been trying to be so brave, but we all saw the fear in her. And the worst part, Victor has been playing the doting, supportive husband this whole time, completely ignoring the fact that he literally just manipulated her into signing away her Newman Enterprises shares while she was drugged up. It's sick. It's actually sick. But today wasn't about the shares. Today was about survival. And then we get to the hospital room. The tension in that room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. You guys know what I'm talking about. It felt like one of those classic Y&R moments where everything just stops. Nate Hastings is standing there, looking all serious in his doctor mode. Victor is hovering over Nikki like a hawk, trying to control a situation that is completely out of his hand. Victoria and Nick are standing off to the side, and you can just see the absolute terror on their faces. They are terrified for their mother. And honestly, who wouldn't be? Nikki has been through so much over the years. The MS, the alcoholism, the endless drama with Jack and Diane and Patty Williams. But losing her sight? That's a whole different level of vulnerability for a woman who prides herself on being the matriarch of the most powerful family in Genoa City. So Nate starts talking, doing his whole bedside manner routine, which, let's be honest, has always been a little stiff. But he's trying. He's telling her what to expect. And Nikki is just nodding, but you can tell she's barely holding it together. So the moment finally happened. Nate starts unwrapping the bandages, and it's agonizingly slow, like they really milked the dramatic pauses here. Every layer of gauze coming off felt like an eternity. And you're sitting there on your couch holding your breath, right? Because maybe, just maybe, the writers are going to give her a break. Maybe there's going to be a miracle. We love a soap opera miracle. But no, the last bandage comes off. Nikki opens her eyes. She blinks. She blinks again. And the silence in that room was deafening. You could hear a pin drop. Nikki is just staring straight ahead, but she's not seeing anything. Her eyes are open, but they're empty. And then the realization hits her. The absolute crushing realization that she is completely... There is no light. There are no shapes. There is nothing, just an endless, suffocating black void. The look on Melody Thomas Scott's face. I mean, give the woman an Emmy right now. The way her expression went from hopeful anticipation to pure, unadulterated horror was genuinely hard to watch. And then all hell breaks loose. I mean, it was explosive. Nikki doesn't just cry. She doesn't just quietly sob into Victor's chest. No, she completely loses her mind. And honestly, I don't blame her one bit. She starts screaming, just this raw, guttural scream of absolute panic and despair. It was chilling, you guys. She starts thrashing around, knocking things over. It's like a wild animal caught in a trap. She's kicking, she's flailing, and then, in this moment of pure, blind rage and terror, she lunges forward and just smashes her hands right into the mirror in front of her. The glass shatters everywhere. It's a loud, violent crash. Suddenly, there's blood. Nikki's hands are cut up. She's bleeding. She's sobbing. She's screaming that she can't see. It was so visceral. We rarely see Nikki Newman lose her composure to this extreme degree. She is usually so poised, so put together, even when her life is falling apart. But this broke her. The darkness broke her. And seeing her with bloody hands, surrounded by shattered glass, screaming in the dark, it's an image that is going to stick with me for a long, long time. Victor, of course, tries to step in. He rushes forward, trying to grab her, trying to pull her back from the broken glass. He's yelling her name, trying to calm her down. Nikki, my baby, stop, please. But she is completely inconsolable. He's fighting him off. And for the first time in a very long time, Victor Newman looks completely helpless. The great Victor Newman, the man who controls politicians, who buys and sells companies for fun, who literally just orchestrated a hostile takeover of his own wife's personal assets while she was bedridden. He can't do a damn thing to fix them. He can't buy her eyesight back. He can't intimidate the blindness away. And you can see the absolute shock and desperation. He is terrified. And maybe, just maybe, a tiny part of him is feeling guilty. Okay, that sounded dramatic. And let's be real, Victor rarely feels guilt, but he definitely hates feeling powerless. And right now, holding his bleeding, screaming, blind wife, he is the most powerless man in the world. Meanwhile, Victoria and Nick are just watching this unfold, and they are completely traumatized. Victoria immediately bursts into tears. She's sobbing, covering her mouth, watching her mother, the strongest woman she knows, completely unravel into a bloody, screaming. Victoria has been trying so hard to keep it together lately. She's been dealing with all the corporate drama, her weird new secret sharing dynamic with Kyle Abbott, which is a whole other mess we need to talk about later. But in this moment, she's just a scared little girl watching her mom suffer. And Nick, oh boy, Nick is a whole different story. Nick is standing there, and you can see the panic attack building in his chest. He's already on edge. He's already a walking powder keg. And seeing his mother like this, it is the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen to him right now. Because let's remember where Nick's head is at. Nick is not sober. Nick is currently battling a massive, terrifying addiction to painkillers and whatever else he can get his hands on. He's been popping pills to deal with the trauma of Matt Clark. Matt Clark, a psychopath who tortured him, who is now somehow living on the Newman Ranch because Victor thinks he can control him. Nick has been spiraling for weeks. He's been having these violent, dark thoughts about permanently eliminating Matt from the world. He's been threatening murder. He is completely unstable. And now his brain, which is already chemically altered and deeply traumatized, has to process the sight of his mother screaming in a pool of shattered glass and blood. Nick's grip on reality was already hanging by a thread. This moment, this was the scissors cutting that thread. You could literally see the switch flip in his eyes. The sadness turned into pure, unadulterated rage. And then Nate makes a mistake, a huge mistake. Nate, trying to be the rational, objective medical professional, steps forward. He tries to talk over the screaming. He starts explaining the medical statistics. He actually looks at this grieving, terrified family and says, I warned you this was a possibility. The chances of recovery were only 50%. Are you kidding me, Nate? What were you thinking? Who actually believes this is the right time to quote statistics? Nikki is bleeding from her hands. Victor is wrestling her away from a broken mirror. And Nate is standing there like a human calculator going, well, the odds were a coin toss, and maybe after a long time she might see again. It was so tone deaf. It was so incredibly cold. Now, maybe I'm being too harsh. Nate is a doctor. He has to deliver bad news. He has to stick to the facts. But the delivery, the timing, it was atrocious. He might as well have thrown gasoline on a fire. And Nick absolutely loses his mind. He doesn't even think. He just reacts. Nick lunges across the room and grabs Nate right by the collar of his lab coat. He slams him back. He was so fast and so violent, I actually jumped on my couch. Nick is screaming in Nate's face. His eyes are wild. His veins are popping out of his neck. He is threatening Nate, blaming him, demanding that he fix it. It's totally irrational. Nate didn't make Nicky blind, but Nick doesn't care about logic. Nick needs a target. He needs someone to punish, because he can't punish the universe, and he can't punish Victor yet, and he can't get to Matt Clark right this second. So Nate becomes the punching bag. Nick is shaking him, threatening him, and it honestly looked like Nick was going to beat a doctor to death right there in the hospital. And you have to wonder how much of this is the drugs talking. Actually, no. You don't have to wonder. It is 100% the drugs and the trauma. Nick is so high on fentanyl and cocaine and whatever else Sienna sold him, his emotions are completely dysregulated. He can't handle pain right now. He's been using drugs to numb the fear of Matt Clark, and now he's hit with a pain so deep he can't numb it. So it turns into violence. We've seen Nick get angry before. We've seen him throw punches, but this felt different. This felt unhinged. This felt like a guy who is completely out of control and dangerous. Sharon has been terrified of Nick's dark moods lately, and she was absolutely right to be. If Nick is willing to violently assault a doctor in a hospital room in front of his family, what the hell is he going to do when he finally gets his hands on Matt Clark? It's terrifying to think about. So where does this leave everyone? Nate is standing there, probably reevaluating his entire career choice to return to surgery. I mean, the guy just wanted to help, and now he's getting physically assaulted by a drug-addicted Newman. Victoria is crying, trying to pull Nick off of Nate. Victor is still holding Nikki, trying to stop the bleeding from her hands. It is a scene of absolute, total chaos. And the writers did a fantastic job of making it feel claustrophobic and desperate. You really felt the walls closing in on them. The Newmans are used to winning. They are used to buying their way out of tragedy. But you can't buy a severed optic nerve. You can't bribe blindness. And that reality is crashing down on them. It's a harsh reminder that despite all their billions, they are just as fragile as anyone else. But the biggest question now is, what is Victor going to do to save his? Because we all know Victor Newman does not accept defeat. He just doesn't. If Nate says there's a 50% chance and it might take a long time, Victor's going to demand a 100% chance, and he wants it tomorrow. He's going to fly in specialists from all over the world. He's going to fund experimental research. He's going to do whatever it takes. But you also have to wonder, is he going to use them? Victor is a master manipulator. He already used Nikki's illness to steal her shares of Newman Enterprise. Is he going to use her permanent blindness to isolate her even more? To make her completely dependent on him? It's a sick thought, but this is Victor we're talking about. He loves when his family needs him. He loves being the savior. And right now, Nikki needs him more than ever. Honestly, you guys, I am exhausted. This episode took everything out of me. It was brutal. It was bloody. It was emotional. Melody Thomas Scott deserves all the awards for that mirror smash. Joshua Morrow was terrifying as a drug-fueled Nick, and Eric Braeden played the helpless patriarch perfectly. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if Nikki will ever see again. I don't know if Nick is going to end up in jail for murder or in a morgue from an overdose. But I do know that I will be glued to my screen tomorrow to find out. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode and if you think Nick went too far with Nate. Who actually believes this is going to end well? Because I sure don't